me introduce your host, Fino and Sasha, the legit king.
It's the start of the show, time to walk through the smoke. When I enter the ring, I jump over the ropes. I feel like Mysterio, I ain't no joke. Titles, I held them both, call me Chris Jericho. Time to cash in my money in the bank. Just like Sheamus when he beat Roman Reigns. Meet me in the cage, like Undertaker when he met Kane. I don't play games, I'm no Triple H. The crowd screaming, you rock like my name's Dwayne. The crowd screaming, you suck like your Kurt Angle. In the ring, I'm the boss just like Sasha Banks. So you'll get whipped like the intro from Sable. King of my stable, don't matter the label. Smackdown or Raw, you get put through a table. Pushed off a ladder or choked with a cable. Throw me a chair, I'ma give him a facial. It's the start of the show, time to walk through the smoke. When I enter the ring, I jump over the ropes.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the wrestling podcast known as Ring Champs. I am one of your co-hosts. It's your boy, Just Fino, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, the one and only Sasha, the legit king. Sasha, say what's up to the people.
What's up, people?
Sasha, how you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. It is a beautiful Sunday. That means that my kids are going back to school tomorrow, and that's always great. So
it's been a rough Sunday for me. Just another terrible Sunday of football.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, at least you're not Denver, okay? At least you're not Denver.
That is true. But you know what? I honestly would rather have been Denver because at least they have their quarterback. My quarterback is gone for the whole year, and I don't know what it feels like.
Who did the Jets play today?
Huh?
Who did the Jets play today?
We played the Patriots, and we lost to them for the, 15th straight time, though? Or something like that?
I don't know what that's like. I'm here in Houston, Texas. I mean, they won today, but I remember being shocked today. I did find out we finally beat the Patriots. I was like, oh, really? So I know what that's like.
It's so terrible. But I'm not even like bothered by it really as much. It was a bad football day overall, but I'm okay. I got over the Rodgers thing getting hurt. But there's a lot more in life to look at and be, I guess happy about. 3-0 on all my fantasy teams. 2-0 on all my fantasy teams so far. So we'll see what happens at the end of tomorrow. But speaking about tomorrow, tomorrow is Monday, which means we have another episode of Monday Night Raw. And this is a wrestling podcast. We like to talk about wrestling, of course. We like to talk about especially Monday nights and who's going to be there. But unfortunately, this episode, we're going to start off with the people who are not going to be there. Because, as expected, the WWE, after their major merger with the UFC, forming a company known as TKO, they had some releases of staff members, and then we had finally on the 21st, which I believe was 3 days ago, we had the first of talent releases. Very, I guess, sad day in wrestling for just a lot of wrestlers and fans in general. But unfortunately, business is business, and that's just life, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm gonna let you go ahead and I don't know if you want to name them or you want to just talk about the top ones, whatever you want to do. I'll let you start it off with it. Go ahead.
All right. Well, we'll name a couple of the NXT people that were let go, and then as we go up the list, then we can stop and talk about the ones that we want to talk about. All right, so first up with NXT, we have Akeem Manjaro, and if you don't know who he is, if you go back, because you had to remind me of this, if you go back to the Index wedding, he's the guy that always wore the funky-looking jackets. So that's how when I Googled him, I was like, oh, he's the dude with the jacket. So he was released. Brooklyn Barrow, Alexis Gray, Kevin Ventura Cortez, Yulisa Leon, Quincy Elliott, Daba Kato. He was, I mean, what was it, Command when he was with Apollo Crews on the main roster a couple years ago. We had Aaliyah. She was out on injury, but she's been released. Like you said last episode, Elias, he's a free agent, but he was formally announced as being released. We had Rick Boogs, which was kind of, he was starting to grow on me a little bit when he was with Shinsuke. And it was just unfortunate that he got hurt at Mania. That was probably the most like high profile match he'd ever been in, to get hurt and then to be released shortly thereafter. I guess he had finished rehabbing. Top Dollar was released. It's interesting that Top Dollar was released, but now we're wondering what happens with the rest of Hit Row, because B-Fab and Shanti the Adonis was not released.
Yeah, no, I think I was shocked by that too. I really was shocked, because it was just weird to cut one and not all. I mean, I guess there's stuff that they can do with a Shantis or Adonis. B-Fab, I really don't see anything for her. And not at this current moment. Honestly, I don't know. I don't see a bright future for her.
I mean, I know B-Fab, she's been working with TJ Wilson and Nadia. But like I said, yeah, I really don't get to see too much of them. Especially when Hit Row came. I don't know. Like I said, it's just interesting that only he was released. So I saw people talking about on the internet, putting them with Trick and Carmelo. So I don't know what's gonna happen.
That would be interesting. Trick and Carmelo with them would be nice, but that would ruin my plans. So I don't want to
tell y'all about always grouping the black people together. I keep telling these people stop doing that.
Well, look. I mean, it's if we're a force, we're a force. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, whatever.
Hey, man. I mean, look, we about. I'm sure I'm gonna bring this up later, but we about to have a force in the WWE. I'm pretty sure of it. I am pretty damn sure of it.
Look here, y'all, nobody else. Okay. Anyway.
Let's continue.
Okay, then Emma and I'm gonna group them together. Emma and Rick Moss, because they're engaged. They got released together, which is sad. I mean, I didn't really care too much for the Madcap Moss thing. He had a good look. I just didn't really know that much about Rick Moss like that. And just like with people like Emma, was Emma and Top Dollar to be released and then brought back and then to be released again? I don't know. I feel really bad. But
well, I'll be honest. I mean, I didn't get Hit Row. I understood, because Hit Row had a good. Their first initial run, it wasn't like too heavy, wasn't too long. They had promise, but unfortunately they had Swerve when that happened. So once they lost Swerve, Hit Row they didn't have anyone that could be like the number one guy. Yeah, and then they weren't good enough to be, in my opinion, they just weren't interesting enough on themselves to become like a dominant tag team or anything like that. Now,
it was an interesting concept. It just
but they needed Swerve, and that's why I give Swerve credit. I got to give him more credit for that, for being that guy, because I'm seeing it now of what he's doing in AEW. Okay, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what's missing from Hit Row. So when they brought him back, it was a good pop. I was there actually the night they came back, and it was a great pop. Like, everyone was, hyped and stuff about it. We didn't, it was crazy. But it still wasn't the same.
Yeah, it didn't. Like I said, the concept was interesting, but it just didn't pan out the way it probably should have.
The thing with Emma wasn't. I know she was at one point she was like a kind of a big deal in NXT when she, her and Paige fought for the first NXT Women's Championship, if I remember right. And then after that, she didn't really have a big run. She wasn't a big name, and even outside of the company, I don't think Emma was a big name outside of the company either. Like she went off of her name in WWE, basically. But it's not like she was a Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, or something out there, or what Naomi's doing as the number one person in Impact or stuff like that.
I think Emma's an interesting case because when I started paying attention to Emma is after she was doing her little dancing thing. I'm not really sure what her thing was. Like when I started watching her in NXT, I wasn't sure she was kind of like purposely being flighty and quirky and stuff. I wasn't really sure. I saw the dance. I didn't know what was going on.
I actually liked her in that.
When she was doing her heel thing and when they first paired her up with Dana Brooke, that's what I remember because she had a match with Asuka and that was a really good match. I think it was TakeOver London. It was really good, very underrated women's match, but like that's my most memorable Emma moment, I guess. And yeah, it was just weird, like just never can really get over the hump, I guess. I don't know what it was.
I mean, she was just missing a lot of things in my opinion. She's a decent wrestler, like entertaining wrestler, but I mean, it's nothing special. At least from my opinion. I never was a big fan. And I think when you look at this list of names, that the names you listed and some that we haven't talked about yet, but some of them I have to say there was not really, besides there was only two people on this list that I considered a huge loss. Everyone else, there was two that had potential. There was a tag team that had potential. There was two big names, and then one that was just a great wrestler. But other than that, we didn't really lose much. It wasn't a big,
it wasn't surprising, I guess.
Like the fact that these guys are gone, and the reason why they did it. Now, look, I don't want to sit here and act like I'm behind them getting released or anything. No, I'm not behind anyone getting released. But I understand it's a business, and I get the whole concept of why am I paying someone if I'm not making money off of them? Like, let's be honest, Top Dollar is not making the WWE any money that they're paying. The money they're paying him, they're not making that back. They're not. Emma, Riddick Moss, all that money they're giving them per year or whatever their contract is, they're not making that back off of those guys. No one's buying their stuff. No one's doing anything. Now, is that creators' fault or is that their fault? It's mostly creators' fault, but at the same time, you got to do something to put yourself out there.
You have an extremely packed roster too. Like, you guys are just I mean, I understand when Triple H came on board, he hired back a lot of people, but you got to look at this list. It's like some of the people were really just like two. It looks like you hired and they're released, but it's like they were already pretty packed. So I don't like talking about releases, but it's like you said, none of it's a surprise. And at this point, especially with the merger, like, you got to cut costs somewhere. So like I said, none of this was really a surprise. I agree with what you said.
It was.
Next week, we have Mansoor, and I'll say it the way he likes to say it, Masay. Now, I heard, so what I heard was, I've only seen little bits of them recently. I know who they are. I know they were Maxim and male models, but from what I heard, they would do online stuff that was super entertaining. Like,
this was the tag team that I'm referring to.
Yeah.
So I love these two. So these two, they're on Up Up Down Down.
Mm-hmm.
And they are hilarious. I think one of the funniest things was they had Dom on Up Up Down Down, right? And Dom was playing a game. And this is hilarious. Mansoor saw Dom playing it and was like, you should know how to play FIFA. So they were playing FIFA, right? And he was like, you should know the buttons already because you were playing it back in SmackDown. Now, the reason why that's so funny is when Dom was little, Dom was on an episode of SmackDown playing his Game Boy, right?
Oh.
He brought that up because he knew it. Because Mansoor loves wrestling. Like, he's a historian. Like, he knows all that stuff. He's like a nerd. Like, he's hilarious. But he assumed Dom knew how to play FIFA. Low
Was he
key.
playing on the show? I heard they were
really.
really entertaining though.
It was hilarious. And then it turns out that Dom was playing GTA.
Okay.
So it was even more funny.
Okay. Well, like I said, I heard they were really entertaining. So, who knows?
Okay.
Maybe they'll get to come back. I don't know. Maybe. Because that tag team division, well, we could talk about that another time. We've already scraped the surface of how I feel about the tag team division. So with Dana Brooke, she's up next. Dana Brooke is an interesting case for me. So let me start off by saying I don't have any issues with Dana Brooke. Like, I actually feel bad because I feel like I said, I don't know her, but I feel like she really tries very hard. And I feel like she really wanted to be thought of in that upper echelon of women's wrestlers. And I can kind of just feel how bad she wanted it, but
I don't know where you're going with this.
No, I'm just saying this is just how I feel about the Dana Brooke thing. I just feel like I feel really bad for her. I feel really, out of everybody that got released, I think I feel bad for her the most. Because like I said, I feel like she really wanted to be better. And I know she didn't start, I think she was a fitness model before she got into it. I think she was doing like bodybuilding. I think she was doing bodybuilding. That's what it was. And she started off in NXT. She had all this hype. And I feel like she was part of that class where it's like they brought people up, I kind of think, too soon, like certain people up too soon. And I think she kind of floundered. And it just never really got anything off the ground for her. And I just feel like for whatever reason, like she got, people were always saying how bad she was and just, I don't know. I just feel like she got a bad rap, and I always just felt bad for her. And now she went back down to NXT, which I thought was really good for her. I thought that was a great move for her. She was literally on TV like a week or two ago, and now she's gone. So, if anything, I really hope she keeps going. I hope she keeps going. I hope she makes a name for herself and is able to come back. Because, like I said, I just have a soft spot in my heart for Dana Brooke. I don't know what it is. But
I don't know what it is either. I don't even know where
what do you
that
mean?
came from. I have no idea where that came from.
Look here. Have a heart, okay?
No, because it's not about having a heart, but I mean, that's the worst person you feel for?
Just on the level. Like,
I don't get that at all. I'll be honest, like, her most memorable thing was being Charlotte's sidekick. Like, I mean, let's just be honest. I don't really. I never saw like any.
Because I've heard interviews from her and seen things that she's written, and she really wanted it. She just. But then you have to remember,
every wrestler I feel like wanted it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Maybe, but I'd look at it this way. Like I said, she came up during a time where A, I thought she got called up too quickly, and B, you're coming up in the midst of the 4 horsewomen. You got Asuka coming. Like, that was a tough time to come up, especially since she didn't really have that much experience, and then having to, try to. You had pretty much the top women, like, considered of all time, and you're coming up against. And I don't know. I wouldn't put her with Emma because Emma was wrestling long before she was, but I don't know. She seems like a really nice person, and I feel like she really wanted respect, and she just never got it. And like I said, I just feel bad for her. I feel bad for everybody, but
Dana,
I
don't know.
Spot in my heart for her.
That was a shocker to me.
And like I said, she was just on NXT like a week or two ago.
No, the shock was not because she got released. I was expecting that. I was just shocked that your feelings on it. I don't know. That threw me. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, there it is. Next up, Shelton Benjamin. Now, I was not
This
shocked.
is where I felt the shock. I mean, if anything, this is where that emotion.
I'm not shocked. They were I felt like the writing was on the wall. Let me start off by saying I love Shelton Benjamin. I do. When they put the Street Profits to Bobby Lashley, I was like, here we go. It's only a matter of time. It just felt like you brought him back. Y'all barely used him. Y'all put him with the Hurt Business, disbanded the Hurt Business for no particular reason, and then did nothing. You wasted Shelton Benjamin again. So it's like, I'm not shocked, but that doesn't mean I'm pleased about it. This one kind of pissed me off a little bit, because I was like, really? Like, and then you basically kind of retool the Hurt Business with the Street Profits. This is why I always say, always bunching the black people together. You traded off Cedric and Shelton to the Street Profits. Nothing was wrong with the Hurt Business originally. I don't know. That one just kind of made me mad more than just sad, because it was like, come on, Shelton, he's great. He's a surefire Hall of Famer. Say what you will about that, but I firmly believe that. And it's like, why? What did you bring him back for? Not to do anything with? That's just lame. But
I thought he brought him back for the mentoring part, which he did a great job. He did help on building and helping a lot of talent. Like, a lot of people love Shelton, and he did help a lot of them. I think that's why he was brought back for the most part. No one was going to give Shelton another run at, like a singles champion or anything like that. And then they didn't give it to him on his prime. They're not going to give it to him, when he's much older. So I didn't see that or anything happening. But
I mean, even if sorry to interrupt you, but even if you weren't going to give him that run, could you imagine, like, let's look at Gunther for a second. His historic Intercontinental title run. We couldn't slide him a feud. Think about Gunther and Shelton Benjamin. We couldn't slide them a little feud because, Shelton Benjamin was Intercontinental champion. He was a very memorable champion. Like, that would have been awesome. We are sadly depleted in tag teams. You had him and Cedric traveling all over the place. Y'all couldn't put that together. There were opportunities, I feel like.
I agree. There was definitely opportunities. I'm not saying they used him perfectly or anything like that. There was definitely better ways to use a talent like Shelton. But I don't. It's just one of those things where it kind of made sense. The reason they brought him in, like I mentioned, it was really just for the mentoring part. And I feel like, I was shocked that they let him go. Even after, he just had an interview where, he talked about, all the stuff that he does in WWE, how much he appreciates the business and stuff like that. I think I'll say this, that if Vince was there, I don't think Shelton would have gone away. I would be honest. If Vince was like in charge of I don't think Vince had any say of who left, to be honest with you. I think if Vince was on top still of creative and all that, I think that Shelton would have been safe. This was definitely a Trips thing. Not that he has anything against Shelton or anything like that. But
they weren't really utilizing him, so
they weren't. Yeah, there was no really need to use him. His best thing since he came back was obviously the Hurt Business, but we've replaced the Hurt Business with a new upgraded version. Gotta say, it's like you said, the writing was on the wall. So if that's the case,
it would be like a coaching position or something like that. If the mentor thing was,
he's a future Hall of Famer. He's gonna come back as probably a coach somewhere at one point. I do that. So I don't think it's a forever thing. And there has been talk anyway that some of these releases may even come back. So it's just it
He
was
would be
probably
one. I would be like, yeah, come on back. That would be good.
yeah, it'll probably be cheaper pricing and stuff like that, but that's fine. It's like I said, it's a business, so you gotta play smart about it.
All right, we got 3 more. So this was one that I was at. Okay, so we've already been over the fact that I was slightly miffed about Shelton. I felt bad about Dana. This one shocked me the most. Mustafa Ali. Most because he was #1 contender, I believe, for the North American title.
Yes, he's gonna
Been
be.
doing very well in NXT, and now he's
Yep.
gone.
Yep, he was gonna face Dom. I believe it's this Sunday. If it's right, yeah, I think it's next Sunday. No Mercy, NXT No Mercy, I believe it is.
I don't understand this one at all.
I didn't get it either, because I thought he was doing well in his role at NXT.
Yes.
But I think this was more of a. I think this was more mutual than anything. I think they knew that he wanted to leave. They put him on NXT to use him better, to try to, ease it. But I don't think it helped. I think that deep down they knew he wanted to go. And that's why they did it. It was just...
But didn't they say, like, HBK really wanted him there? And
yeah, but at the end of the day, though, you can want me there. And that's probably true. But that's not his goal. He don't want to be on NXT.
I can understand that, I guess.
I think he wanted to be on a bigger platform, or at least get an attempt to be on a bigger platform. He's on NXT, and he probably just didn't like that role, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of. He was going to do the job. I mean, he's not a bad guy where he's not going to do what you ask him. If his role is to lose in 2 seconds, he's going to lose in 2 seconds if that's what you ask him. But that doesn't mean that's what he thinks he should be doing. And I think this was more mutual than anything. So I wasn't shocked by this. In fact, I thought he'll be one of the first people to go just because of the whole situation prior.
I guess I was more surprised because I thought, okay, I mean, how many people have we seen go back to NXT, get, revitalized, and then come back? I kind of thought that's where he was headed. Like, think about a couple years ago, Finn Balor went to NXT, masterful heel run, came back, floundered just a little bit, and then boom, we're on Judgment Day.
See, there was a difference with that. Finn wanted to go back to NXT. I don't know if Mustafa wanted to go to NXT. Finn literally offered to go back to NXT so that he can do things and work with certain talent and do that, and then come back, because he felt that his first run, or not his first run, but he felt like he was getting stale.
Maybe so. I just thought, especially since I don't know if you'd seen the vignette that he did. It was a couple weeks ago that I saw it, but it was so good. I've noticed that he's like a lot of creative little vignettes. He's a very creative person.
He is.
And you can tell it. It's just like, that's why I thought, okay, like maybe, and this is no slight to HBK, but I wonder if this had happened a few years ago, like when Triple H was in charge of NXT and it was a smaller operation. Like, I wonder, had he had been able to do this back then, would it have been better than it is now? Because NXT now is they've really gone back to what they originally were supposed to do, I guess, was pushing younger talent, pushing the new fresh faces. They really have done that now. Yeah, you have some people like a Baron Corbin, and at the time a Dana Brooke and a Mustafa Ali sprinkled in there. But for the most part, like, it's really, they get Becky Lynch there too, but for the most part, it's really those young new talents. So I wonder if this was like 5 years ago, maybe, 5-6 years ago, if he had done this during the time where you had, who was in NXT 5 or 6 years ago, 2017, like,
talking about that's prime NXT.
Yeah, if he had been able to do that back then, maybe it would have had a bigger impact than it is now.
Well, what do you mean? Because like I'm not understanding what you mean. Like a
Okay,
bigger.
so think about so a lot of the vignettes he's doing now, like the character he was trying to pursue. What was 2017? Like, was that Adam Cole, Velveteen
That's
Dream,
everyone. The name that they were
Ricochet,
in.
everybody?
Yeah, that's everyone.
I wonder if that would have fit in more than now, because like I said, if you're really just focusing on the new young talent, yeah, he's there as a role, kind of like a mentor role, working with older, but I just don't think at the end of the day, even though, like I said, HBK wanted him there, he was going to be that guy. Like, you got a Carmelo Hayes going to be that guy. You got a Braun Breaker that's going to be that guy. You have these people. Like, even though he was there, still, I don't think he would have been the guy necessarily. Whereas back then, maybe he would have had a much better shot. I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you this. No, he would have got lost in the shuffle back then. I'll tell you that right now.
Even with that character, you think so?
You know how he wasn't. I mean, maybe I haven't really watched NXT in the last couple of weeks, to be fair. So I missed the vignette and all that. Whatever he's doing. But I can tell you right now, whatever he's doing now ain't gonna have lasted in prime NXT.
But I mean, okay, so but think about it. You had people like, for example, like a Pete Dunne, not the most charismatic guy on the mic, but amazing, like beautiful in the ring, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody had that's the beauty of NXT. Everybody had their role, everybody had their position. You don't think with the character that he was trying to put in, and
what was his character?
He had like it's kind of like a politician sort of thing. Like, I have to go back and rewatch it, but I really liked it. I thought it was interesting. Just the potential of the character he can portray. Okay, just work with me here.
Okay.
From what I saw from the vignette and the work that you can tell, like when he was trying to do the hacker bit, and even when the scraps of what Retribution could have been, there's something there with him. And I wonder if he would have been able to pin down a good character coupled with his ring work. Could he have potentially fit in back then more so than he fits in now, where clearly youth is the focus? I think there could have been a chance for him back then. Maybe not now, but
I would say this: if he can't get it over now, he ain't getting it over back then.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not that young talent anymore. And then
I don't think anyone. It's like this. Even if with that vignette or whatever, no one even cared about it. So I don't think it was that big of a deal. Like, I mean, like, maybe I have to watch it, but even I stay tuned to pretty much all news and everything when it comes to any type of wrestling stuff. And I have yet to hear anyone talk about Mustafa Ali's vignettes or this is must see or anything like that. So I disagree with you that it had anything to do, or not that you're saying it. You're saying you wonder if it would work better back then. I'm just saying I don't think it would have mattered whether it's HBK's, Triple H's, Vince's. Because
think about when he came in during 205 Live, and they made it very clear that those cruiserweights were gonna stay right where they were. Considering he lasted that long was pretty miraculous as it was. I don't know. Maybe I just had a little bit more faith in Mustafa.
No, I like Mustafa Ali. I thought he was a great wrestler. I also think that he had a creative mind that was not utilized well. I think it was, I'm not going to say Bray Wyatt mind, but he had a different mind of the game of professional wrestling than others. It was it was Bray Wyatt-esque kind of thinking the way he thinks. That's from things that I've heard about him. That's things I've heard him talk about. He really does have a different thinking when it comes to wrestling.
And the few things that I saw in NXT with him in the past few months, like, he seemed way more comfortable. Like, with the talking and the character, like I feel like he was getting there. Like, I just wish, I don't know, give him a little bit more time. But I digress.
Like I said, I think it was mutual. I think he wanted to go. They knew he wanted to go, but he was doing his job, and he was going to do the best of his ability at that job. But at the end of the day, he wanted to go. And you know what? If he wants to go, let him go. And I think it's best for him.
And I hope he does something really amazing, because I think, I don't know. I feel like that was a loss. Like, people might not see that as a journal, but I see big things for him, and I hope he keeps going. All right, so the next one, I mean, I guess when you lay it out and look at the evidence, this one really shouldn't have been a shock. The next two really shouldn't be a shock, honestly. Matt Riddle, the ultimate bro. He's not there anymore. So when Matt Riddle first debuted, I can't say that I was a fan. I didn't hate him. I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't understand the whole bro thing. I was like, oh, it's kind of goofy. But I guess like Randy Orton, when they first teamed up, he grew on me. And I liked him when he was with Pete Dunne, because you all know that I love Pete Dunne. But then when he got with Randy Orton and they were a rated RK bro, I really grew to love Matt Riddle. And I guess my biggest complaint, and this is probably why I wasn't so surprised he was let go, is that I feel like once Randy went down, they had no idea what to do with him. I mean, plus he was getting a little bit of trouble from what I heard, like backstage stuff or whatever. But on screen, it just felt like there was no real growth to him. It was like, you put him with somebody, he does well with them, they make it work, and then for whatever reason, they break it up, or like I said, Randy got hurt. He floats around. They tried him with Seth Rollins. The feud it was interesting, because I mean, that interview where they were slugging some pretty personal stuff around, that was probably the most interesting part of that whole feud, to be honest with you. And I was excited for that feud. It didn't do anything to really elevate Riddle at all. So I don't know. It feels like a waste, but then again, he's been through a lot, like family-wise. He was in rehab. This thing that he had at the airport a couple of weeks ago, like, who knows? Maybe this is the best thing. Like, out of everybody, I think he can come back. Like, I see him coming back somewhere down the road, but he just had a lot going on, and they just weren't doing much with him as is without Randy. Like, once Randy kind of left, it was kind of like, to me, writing on the wall for him. Yeah, I feel bad for Riddle. What do you think?
Well, the thing about Riddle, so I think this just proves back to what I originally said about the whole Randy and Riddle thing. I called it from a long time ago. I said that the whole plan was for Randy to go heel on Riddle. And once Randy went down, basically it's like that feud would have helped Riddle get to that next level.
Yeah.
Randy would have got him there. Once Randy went down, it's hard to get someone to that level when you already had the perfect thing to get them there. They tried with Seth, like you mentioned. I thought that feud actually helped Seth more than it helped Riddle. We got more of the, it helped elevate Seth, believe it or not, to the Seth Rollins we know now. I think that Riddle was a great wrestler, great for NXT. I thought his main roster run was good. I don't believe he won any titles besides the tag team titles. That's the only thing I don't think he won a singles title.
I feel like let me check.
He might have won
a title or anything like that.
I don't remember him winning a title. I know he's went for it. I know he's went for obviously the undisputed title, but I don't remember him with an Intercontinental United States, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, he was United States champion.
He was the United States?
Yeah.
Okay, so I couldn't remember. So that tells you that much. I mean, obviously it wasn't that memorable. But he was a really good wrestler, like I mentioned. I thought that they could have done a little bit more with him. He just unfortunately had a lot of shit going on in his life, in and outside of the ring, that it kind of just fucked with him. I mean, it's the same thing that happened to him in UFC. We saw what happened, obviously, now in WWE. Can he come back? Yeah, I'm sure he can. Will he? Maybe if
Do
he
you want him to come back?
I mean, I don't care. Only because, I mean, it's not like he was missed. I didn't miss him these last few weeks that he was gone, to be honest with you. I thought he did his role. Believe it or not, he did his role perfectly with Drew. We're getting now it seems like we're getting like a heel Drew. And it's kind of funny that it was Riddle that helped get him there. But other than that, yeah, I don't really. If he comes back, good. If he doesn't, then I wish him the best for sure. He'll be great in AEW. I'll tell you that, because he'll be great as far as he'll fit their wrestling style. Like he'll have great matches in AEW. He's not gonna be like a superstar over there or anything like that, but he'll be great wrestling wise. I'll give him that, because he is a great wrestler. I've seen some of his work outside of WWE has been phenomenal. And you can see his potential, what he's done in NXT previous times, and also some of the matches he had on main roster were great. So he's definitely a great wrestler.
I hope he comes back. I hope he gets things straightened out. He gets to come back, because the cruel irony is him getting released and then people spotting Randy Orton at the PC. Such cruel irony. Like, I don't appreciate that at all.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that's just another unfortunate part, of his career. Like, you got all these, Randy goes down, then you have all these issues with your family and the airport thing and your ex and all this stuff. It's just a combination of things.
It's not
drug tests. I mean, it's really unfortunate, because he could have had a bright future in WWE. He probably would have always been like a mid card to, like, in the middle between mid card and main eventer. He was probably going to be stuck there, but I don't think that's a bad spot, to be honest with you. It's just, he was never going to be the guy, but he was always going to be someone you can rely on, I felt like, as far as in ring and getting a pop. Outside the WWE, unfortunately, the only thing he was relied on was to get in trouble or do something stupid. So that's just the only thing.
I still want my rated RK bro reunion and stuff.
I
want that.
I think he needed it, if anything. If anyone needed there's only two people that need a Randy Orton return more than anybody. It was him and Cody. Other than that, that's.
Don't forget Rhea, because I want to see Randy Orton and Rhea.
So I feel like that could have been great, but we'll see. Maybe a year from now, if he's not in AEW or something.
Maybe
we'll see it.
Maybe he can come back in the Rumble. That would be nice. Give him a few months off. Come back. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me either. We're at a point, like, WWE is already. So yes, they release people, but they're signing people too now. So it's like, it's not like they're cutting. They were cutting, but they were cutting the things they don't use. But they're signing people that they're gonna use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like maybe he just the pressure off, the time, and then maybe he can come back in the Rumble if Randy's back by then. I mean, that would be good. Let them come back. It would be like a nice little reunion for a little while, and then boom.
It wouldn't surprise me if he comes back. I'll be honest. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't. Like I said, it's so well. If he does, then great. I
just feel like that story, out of every story that possibly could be told, like that was one of the ones I was really, really waiting for, because to me, it kind of, so you remember the Festival of Friendship with Jericho and KO, right?
Of course.
Do you remember how you felt when Jericho was like, why is my name on this?
Right.
I feel like the moment Randy Orton would have turned on that rail, it would have felt like that. Like, because I remember like
no more RKO.
Yeah, like the way they were, and that's like, again, it was just so unfair for Randy to get hurt. And I guess that's not his fault, obviously, but if you remember just how incredibly popular RK Bro was, like,
For
just
sure.
killing it. The crowd was behind him. That would have been a masterful story.
We haven't seen Randy since like March of 2022.
Yeah, just
April 2022. So
just,
I mean, that's crazy. It's over a year and 6 months ago. Like, that's crazy. That's the last time we've actually seen him in a ring. So yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And just think about, like, that was just, if they had started leading up to that breakup, that was just when Triple H and them started taking over. So could you imagine like how that would have gone?
Totally agree. I think it was right before. Yeah, I think it was right before Trips took over.
Yeah.
Yep. So I totally agree with you. And by the way, Riddle was Trips was a fan of Riddle. Like, he really was a fan of Riddle. So trust me, he did not want to do it. Riddle put this on himself. So
I'm gonna come back. I want my story, damn it.
It's gonna happen. I think it will happen. I'm sure. I don't know who makes the calls in WWE now. I don't know if Trips did it himself, or I don't know who's that person, because I know it used to be Laurinaitis. I don't know who it is now, but I'm sure you'll see Riddle back eventually. If it's down the road or something, that like a year or so, maybe. More than likely, I doubt he'll be back by Rumble, but you never know.
Maybe. I mean, and then I've heard interviews with like Chelsea Green and Kathy Kelly, and they said that, I mean, Chelsea Green just basically said she just texted Triple H and called him and said, I want my job back, and that's how she ended up back. So I mean, maybe he needs the time, and maybe he can, come on back. But I just want to quickly put in there that I'm a big fan of Chelsea Green, but let's move on. So, like, that girl, I like her. She's funny.
She's parts of her I like. Like, there's some things she does that I like, but then there's other things I'm like, why? Like, why are you? But whatever. Whatever.
I think she has a lot of personality, and I think she has pretty decent comedic timing. So and the women's roster like that, I think that stands out. You don't really have a lot of that.
I do agree with that.
She is a fan of her. Like, she stands out. She's different. She might not be the best wrestler, but
she's definitely not. And I think that's probably the part I definitely don't like the most.
But then you gotta think about it too. Like, we've been so spoiled with amazing in-ring competitors, but like we always say, like, the one thing that's lacking is a lot of them don't have fleshed out characters, whereas she's the opposite.
Yeah, I know, and I know, and it's just, she reminds me honestly of like the AEW women's wrestlers. It's like some of them have great characters, but she reminds me of Britt Baker. Like, Britt Baker, great, has a great character, but her wrestling does not entertain me at all. That's where Chelsea is. I need some wrestling. I need some type of. You got to do something in the ring. Like, I don't want you. When you're in the ring, you can't just be there. And that's what I feel like she is. Especially,
I don't think she's a slouch.
Roster that can wrestle but are not getting the ring time they deserve. Like my girl Tegan Knox. Like Tegan, who should have been the person and who was going to be the person to face Becky Lynch. 10 minutes before the show started, they changed it, and that was apparently a Vince call. Which it makes sense why they did it. I'm gonna give Vince credit for it. It just sucks because I wanted to see Tegan back.
But see, that's the thing, though, and I know we have one more person to talk about.
We'll get to him. Everyone knows who it is. We'll
get to him in just a second, but. A quick, I guess, detour here. like I said, I think the beauty in the women's revolution, evolution, whatever you want to call it, is that we got amazing, amazing in-ring people. We had just completely changed the game, right?
Yes.
But like I've always said, I strongly think what makes that division so unique is that, first of all, I've always thought that if you're a woman in this industry, not everybody needs to be a wrestler. Like, I just don't believe in that at all. I don't think it works. Like, you take Alana, for example, not really a wrestler, great manager, you know, things like that. So I think you're gonna have your wrestlers who are clearly stronger in the ring, and then you're gonna have your ones that are maybe not as memorable in the ring, but character-wise, like a Chelsea Green, I think works. If you look at The Miz, okay? What are we gonna remember the most about The Miz? Probably not all his matches. Like he said, you know, I think the most memorable match I think I remember him having was the one with Dolph Ziggler. That was a really strong feud. Very underrated, I feel like. But that character work, that mic work was top rate. Great. I think we need more variety of that.
I see what you're saying with that. I get what you mean, but my issue with that though is that for some reason, when the women are not a wrestler and they're just characters, I feel like they all choose like the same type of character.
I agree with that.
Like
then,
that's my only issue with that. It's
no,
like
I agree.
You know, at least with Miz, or I know there's someone else that's not a good wrestler, but you can. I don't know. I can't think of it right now, but that's the only. They just always choose a so similar character that it's like I've seen it. So like the Chelsea Green. Let me ask you this. What was really the difference between Chelsea's character and what Trish did? The recent Trish. You could say it was similar. The only difference is Trish was a Hall of Famer, wanted you to say thank you, and Chelsea just didn't want any, you know, she just felt like everybody was against her. It's the same thing.
I'm not going to dispute you on that. What I'm saying is the character work is obviously stronger than the ring work.
Yes.
And I agree with you because I've said in previous episodes, I feel like as strongly as the women have come about in the ring, the character work was always lacking. Because like you say, you're right. Either you're super sexy, you're super strong, or you're really bitchy. That's always been like the character.
Yeah,
with the women, and that's something that I always hated. Like I wish they would have. I know Molly Holly's a producer. I don't know how many women they have in the writers' room, but sometimes you can tell it was men writing for women, and then I always kind of chat my ass a little bit about that. But sometimes I'll take character work when I can get it, because sometimes I'm just resigned to, okay, this is where we're at right now. My point was, I just liked that she was. It is a very similar character arc, but I feel like she's doing well with it.
She is.
Like she's able to pull it off because, like I said, she does have decent comedic timing. Most of the time when the women are acting bitchy, it's just kind of like, but she's actually funny with it. So that was my whole thing with her. That's why I like her, because she's taking something that we've seen before, but she's able to do it, I feel like, better than a lot of, it comes off more natural than just I'm acting bitchy. Like that's what I like about her. It just seems like she's really in it. Like you can tell, like, could she be this way in real life? Like she's really good at what she does. So that's why she kind of stands out to me. Whereas like a Charlotte Flair, who's amazing, very one-dimensional as a character. That was my whole point. Like I just was like, there's gotta be either they're in the 3 character arcs, or they're just good in the ring and that's it. Like it's just, I don't know how we got off topic, but
no, I know.
We need a whole show about the women's division. We need a whole show about it.
I just felt like end of the day, it might have been the writing team that has failed a lot of the women. And I think you mentioned why when you have men writing for women, maybe that's not always the best idea. But I just want to throw this in, and it is going to get us way off topic real quick. But it's kind of related. Speaking of writing teams, I just wanted to announce that the WGA and the AMPTP have officially reached a tentative deal on a new contract.
Oh,
Writer strike might officially be over. So I just wanted to mention that real quick because I just got the alert. But anyway, speaking.
How long is John Cena staying again?
Well, I know, right? Goodbye, Cena. Goodbye, Rock. It was great seeing you guys.
We need a whole episode on the women's division. We should do that because
on the women's division, I think that would be great.
I think we do.
I think that would be great. In fact, I say let's do that next.
Yeah, because even your point with Tegan Knox, I know that's your girl, but it's like, what is Tegan Knox? Like, what do we know about her? Yes, it would have been. I know she probably would have gone in there and did a strong showing, but then what? Right.
No, I agree. I think that's exactly what we should do. I think the next episode we should do just dedicated to the women's division. Because let's be honest, the women's division is going to be a hot topic in the next few months.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all we'll say. We'll save it all for next week. But let's go on to the next. What happened?
I said we did save the best for last. I mean, as far as the memorable one for last.
For sure. This was the showstopper. This is
not surprising.
Let me be the one to say this. So,
okay.
Because this is one of my favorites. So this one actually, this is the one that I was shocked by. I was shocked by this one. So unfortunately, Dolph Ziggler, a former heavyweight world champion, I believe 2-time world heavyweight champion, has been released from the WWE. I mean, this is a man that I personally believe was the greatest traditional cash-in of all time. It's hard to really top the Seth Rollins one, but that wasn't really a traditional way. That was just a unique way. But the traditional way was the cash in by Dolph Ziggler on Alberto Del Rio. I've watched that video so many times. This was a man that was relied on to just consistently put on great shows after great show, great match after great match. At over 1,500, I believe it was 1,545 matches that he has had. He's had 63 wins on pay-per-view, I think it was, or it was something like that. Multiple time tag team champion, multiple time intercontinental champion. I don't know if he was a Grand Slam champion.
He wasn't a Grand Slam, but he was the 22nd Triple Crown champion.
Triple Crown, okay. So what was he missing from Grand Slam? Was it because it wasn't then he won NXT.
He won NXT. He's a one-time NXT champion, 2-time World Heavyweight champion, 2-time US champion, 6-time Intercontinental champion.
The WWE.
Yeah, 3-time tag team champion, 1 SmackDown, 2 Raw. He was a world tag team champion. Yeah, that's what he.
So it's just the WWE title he never won.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so but you listed all that. I mean, God, that is a Hall of Fame career. If there's anyone, that is definitely a Hall of Fame career. That's probably tops all those achievements. Probably beat most of the people in the Hall of Fame right now, to be honest. And he wasn't, let's just say most of his career, you could argue he wasn't even used as much. So that just tells you how great he was. I think he is arguably the best seller of all time.
Yeah.
He makes everyone look good. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. I think he had one of the best promos of all time. You mentioned the feud with Miz. I'm talking about that feud because that promo where he's talking about how
Sometimes you want something, and
sometimes you
it
want
doesn't look
something
like
and you God, it's just such an emotional. You give and you give and you give and you give, and sometimes they don't want you back. Like, yo, that was just perfect. But you gotta give this man so much respect. I absolutely love Dolph Ziggler, and you know what? He should be one of the greats of all time just for the fact that he had a Hall of Fame career with the name Dolph Ziggler.
I was just
That
gonna say that. Anybody who can make that name into a serious, credible thing, you are the GOAT. Like, that was great.
like, so that alone right there, like, but you know what? It's an unfortunate thing. I was shocked when I saw that. I did not expect Dolph to be, leaving the WWE by being released. I figured he'll leave on his own terms. In fact, I didn't know that he was going to leave before he signs his last contract. But they convinced him not to. I think they threw some extra money in there, and I think the extra money is why he's released now. His contract was ending next summer anyway, so it was just he was probably about. We probably only had like 8 more months anyway with him, but it's still obviously still rough. You don't want to see a legend like that go. I consider him a legend in my eyes. But yeah, Sasha, what do you got to say about Dolph Ziggler?
I think I pretty much echo what you said. Like, I think when we talk about just, I don't know, a lot of people like to use just, underutilized a lot. Dolph Ziggler's name could probably, even with all those accolades, it's like, if you look at his career, just put it on a piece of paper and just map everything out with all those accolades, I still don't think it was what it could have been, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, he won all those things, but there was a lot of stop and starts, and I think those few times when he was given the ball, it was like he could do it. Like, people were behind him. Like, this was a thing, and then I just don't think the company ever really believed in him as much, and I think that's ultimately what it came down to. I don't think it was on him. I think, like you said, that pop that he got when he cashed in was amazing. Like, probably, like, I would say the best cash in of all time was clearly Seth, but I wouldn't be mad if you were like Dolph was number one. It just depends. Like,
Dolph had the greatest reaction.
Yeah, like for sure. I think what would put it up there with Seth. I mean, you can't get any higher than the main event of WrestleMania. Obviously.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I said unique, because that one, traditional wise, no one beats what Dolph did. No.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, when he cashed in, was anybody expecting that pop? Like, really? Like, I don't remember thinking it would have been like that. So to see how organic that was for the people to be so behind him to cash in, that's why I said Seth is number one as far as like the logistics and the atmosphere of him cashing in. But I think Dolph's cash in was more special in the fact that, like, the people wanted it, and it just came out of like I said, I didn't expect that pop, and it was kind of like, okay, look what you guys have, and it really never really panned out. Like, he was, even when he was the sole survivor on Team Cena versus Team Authority, when Sting came back, the feud he had with The Miz, the feud what he had with Luke Harper, that ladder match they had.
Yeah. Awesome.
When Harper was Intercontinental Champion, that was around the Authority time. Like, he's been around for so long, and it just, I don't know why. They just never really, from what I hear, he never got in trouble. You never heard anything bad about him. He's wrestled all those matches. Like, he's like a pretty dependable guy. He was great in the ring. He's charismatic. I just don't understand why they just never I don't know. He's just a great mystery,
Okay.
I guess. I don't know. I feel bad. I mean, I feel bad for everybody on this list who got let go. Let's start there. I think what I feel bad the most about Dolph Ziggler is I just can't understand why they never they never gave him the ball and trusted him with it. I guess that's my thing with him. Because you don't really hear anything bad about him. He's done everything you asked of him, and I just think it's unfortunate that it just ended like this, and
It was crazy.
I just wanted better.
And he was there for 19 years.
Yeah,
That's crazy to think about.
that's a long time.
I didn't even realize he was there that long.
Mm-hmm.
19 years. I basically grew up with the guy. Like, I feel like.
And to see where he came, like being in the Spirit Squad, being Kern White's caddy, being, hi, I'm Dolph Ziggler. That's all he was doing at first. Being with Vicky Guerrero and being a brunette for all of 5 minutes, he went through so much to become what he became, and I don't know, like that's just really disappointing to me.
It's
That's
crazy.
disappointing.
It's just every time they say 19 years, I'm like, damn.
Yeah, these careers, man. You think about how long people like The Rock and them were on top. It wasn't long, and now you got people doing 10, 15, 20-year careers in WWE. Like, it's insane. It's really, really insane.
It's mind blowing. But yeah, he's definitely gonna be missed. I hopefully he's one of those names that does come back. But if he chooses to go to other companies, whether it be AEW, I think he'll be very successful there. I know his brother is over there, so it'll be a nice place for them both to be at. I think he could be a top name for another company. I think he would be great at Impact. I don't really follow Impact like that, but I know that he could be a top name for them for sure. And
I want to see him and Trinity team. They have a really cute friendship. I don't know if you know that. It's really.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's pictures. I think he did like a Q&A last week on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and they asked him who you prefer, Rhea Ripley or Nia Jax, and he posted a picture of Trinity, and there's like pictures years ago of like she would braid his hair for him backstage, and you'd always just hear them say really nice things about each other. And then even when he got released, she had posted his name with like a little emoji or whatever. So I thought they had a cute friendship. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see them team up on Impact too, since she's doing really well over there.
Did not know that. I knew he had a thing. I know him, and I think it was Natty. So I didn't know.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. But yeah, I hope he's a name that does come back eventually. But if not, like I said, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Hopefully, he gets that love and respect from as many people as we do. But yeah, I think that's a sad to hear, shocking to hear. But hopefully he does come back. That would be pretty damn great. All right, so let's go on to the next thing. What was the next thing on our list?
So we had with all these releases happening, people going, we had a return. Well, first of all, we had 2 returns on the same night. Let's not lose one of them in the shuffle here. Pat McAfee came back on SmackDown and cutting a promo with Austin Theory, kind of like a throwback, with the feud they had at WrestleMania, going into Dallas. And I was excited to see Pat back. I'm a huge Pat McAfee fan, as him being commentator. I still wish he would come back, but he's doing really well on ESPN, so get that ESPN bag, Pat. So he's there talking to, Austin Theory, and then The Rock just else is out there, like just The Rock. Like, I remember going on Twitter and I think it was Instagram, and like The Rock has come back, and I'm like, what? I thought it was a mistake. I thought they were showing clips of a return he did years ago or something, and no, he was there.
So, yep, yeah.
That so the Colorado. So okay,
So I knew he was gonna be there.
I
but
did not.
I knew he was gonna be there, but I didn't tell you because I didn't want to ruin it for you.
Whatever.
I was
So
I was basically told he was gonna be there, but because I'm a diehard Rock fan. Even though I was told, I wanted to wait till it actually happens before I actually believe it.
I'm not gonna ask you who told you. So
Yes.
anyway, they were in Denver. When you step back and look at it now, it all makes sense. They were in Denver because he was there to catch the Colorado versus Colorado State game with Coach Prime.
Yes.
And he ended up being on ESPN Game Day, which explains also why Pat McAfee was there.
Yes.
So that's why. But still, it was very exciting. I guess everybody but Fino was surprised.
Oh no, I was still surprised. Trust me, I was surprised as if I didn't know, because like I said, even though I was told he was going to be there, I don't believe it when it comes to The Rock until I see him. Just because it's just one of those things. Like no matter when, I'm gonna be shocked that The Rock's there. I love The Rock that much. Like it's like it's just crazy. I love The Rock. If there's one person in this world I wish I could see, it's The Rock. Like, I don't care how much money. Like, once I knew he wasn't going to be at Mania last year, I said I'm not going.
Okay, so you've never seen him live, right?
I've never seen The Rock live.
I have.
I hate you. Yeah, you saw him at Mania, I'm assuming.
Yeah, WrestleMania 30, him and Austin and Hogan.
Yeah, see, I never got to see The Rock live. Never seen Austin live. Never seen Hogan live.
Austin live 2 times? Yeah, 2 times.
I've never had the pleasure. I've seen Cena, I've seen Triple H, I've seen Undertaker, Kane, Michaels.
So he's like your bucket list. Like
I've seen Jericho, Punk.
I've seen them too.
Yeah, but I have not seen.
Yeah.
I've not seen Rock. Have not seen Austin. Have not seen Kenny. Have not seen Will Ospreay. Those are 4 names I have not seen that I want to see.
I think I've seen everybody I wanted to see. The only one that I've never seen was Eddie, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, I didn't get.
I
think I did see Eddie when I was younger.
I didn't get to see him. I should have. That was my big regret as a kid. I didn't act to go to WrestleMania 17 when it was in Houston. I should have gone. One of my best friends went, and I didn't go. So huge regret. But
yeah, I saw Ray. I saw all of them. But yeah.
But yeah, The Rock came back, and he still has the ability to move the needle. 153 million views.
Yes.
Since social media, since he came back, like, man, he pretty much just cleared their social media views in one visit. So The Rock he still got it, man. And like I said, I saw it like on the news. Like, I saw it on just major media outlets that he came back. Like, it wasn't just like a wrestling thing. Like, it was a big deal all over. So
you know what's crazy about that, though? So when The Rock first left, right? It's 2004. He didn't come back to 2011. That was 7 years, right? That seemed like such a long time. We hadn't seen The Rock on WWE in 4 years. And it didn't seem like it was that long.
That's true. I saw that.
I could have swore we saw The Rock like last year or the year before that. Like, I could have swore we did.
Maybe because he's like in every movie and we see him all the time. It's not like the Stone Cold where we don't.
Like, I think the 4 years. So that was what? Was that when Fox?
When Fox they first went to Fox, that's when he came back.
That was the last time we saw him. That's crazy. I felt like that was like yesterday because I remember that whole thing. It was him, Becky, and Baron Corbin. Wow, that's crazy. I could have
But
sworn
I
we
feel
saw
like we see him
Vince.
so much anyway, so that's probably why it didn't feel so
But no,
long
I could have
ago.
swore we saw him on WWE TV. Like I could have swore I remember seeing him. But it makes sense because that was before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's we lost 2 years from the pandemic, so he wasn't there for that. And then after that, yeah, that it makes sense. It was Austin we saw, but not Rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. But yeah, 4 years away, came back, took over the internet, took over the world. Basically, I mean, it just shows how much of a fucking goat that man is, and
Indeed.
I love. Actually, you know what? I got something to say.
Are we gonna have a rant? Is this it? Are we doing this?
We might have a little rant, nothing major. But I am getting sick and tired of them calling John Cena the GOAT. Now I love John Cena. I think John Cena is on Mount Rushmore. But to me, it's like calling LeBron James the GOAT of the NBA. That's Michael Jordan, okay? Not LeBron. So stop calling John Cena the GOAT.
Please send all of your hate mail to Fino, courtesy of Fino at Ring Champs.
I'm just saying. Like, I'm tired of calling him the GOAT. I love Cena.
I'm not getting involved.
He's not the GOAT.
Not at all.
He's not better than The Rock.
Not getting involved.
He's not better than Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's in the conversation to me, though. I give him that. And his impact on the wrestling business is definitely on their level. I'm not arguing that.
Not touching this one.
But he is not better than The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's better than Hogan. And he's better than Flair.
Not getting involved. Okay.
He might even be on the level. He might be better than Undertaker. But other than that, that's it. He's not better than Rock and Austin. So stop it. Stop calling him the GOAT. Although I get why you do it. Oh, and I didn't even mention the real one. But I'm not even gonna put him in that conversation. That's another level.
What's that?
What? What's what?
You said you weren't gonna put him in that. What are you talking about?
Like there's Rock, there's Austin, and then there's that next level.
Okay.
I need to mention it?
Yeah.
It's like you forgot who it is?
No. I'm just.
The head of the table?
Oh gosh.
The real greatest of all time?
No, let's go. Let's keep moving. We have a lot more show. Let's go.
The undisputed WWE Universal Champion?
We don't have time for this.
Thank you. You started it. I
did not. I was wondering where you were heading somewhere else. And I'm trying to bring you back. I don't know where you were going.
Didn't know. I'm gonna have Paul Heyman call you because obviously Paul got to talk to you because I don't know what the hell you're
Once
thinking.
again, you can have Paul.
You're about to make me go on a rant on you.
Once again, you can have Paul Heyman call me, but my phone is dry for Damian Priest. I don't understand that shit at all. But let's move on. So The Rock comes back and we get to talk, and this is after SmackDown. He has some interviews, and then they mention that there was talk of him performing at WrestleMania. Was it Dallas or was it the one? Was it Dallas?
So
Which one was it?
It was before SmackDown.
Okay.
This was at Game Day.
Wasn't Game Day Saturday though?
No, it was on the Pat McAfee show.
Okay, there you go.
I'm sorry, I say Game Day. I'm sorry, It was on the Pat McAfee show. He had about a 50-minute interview with The Rock on the Pat McAfee show earlier that day, Boulder, Colorado, just about an hour away, which is why they were able to make that drive or flight, whatever they took, probably the jet, to get there. And Rock mentioned, so Pat McAfee, the reason why he's one of the best interviewers in the game right now is just because he'll ask you the question. He shows respect, but he'll ask you the question. And the question was pretty much asked, like, him and Roman, and Rock basically said, him, Vince, and Nick Khan had it was a deal in place. They were going to it was a locked that it was going to be Rock and Roman, WrestleMania 39. And it
Oh,
fell
this
through.
year. You said
Something happened. Not sure exactly what. I think it was more The Rock wasn't ready. I think the rumors were true that The Rock just wasn't in ring shape. He didn't feel like he was ready for it. So that's what happened. And that's why it was called off. And I think that's why the whole switch to Cody, happened. I don't think Cody was gonna win. Was supposed to be the one to face Roman at that. I think they were gonna save Cody. I think Cody was always saved for 40. Me personally, I think Cody was always gonna break the streak. That's why it seemed like it was so fast.
I mean, that would make sense. That would explain a lot.
I think that if you did Rock and Roman, they would have started that sooner. But Rock knew he probably wasn't ready, and they made the audible, have Cody come back at the Rumble and win it, and then face Roman. And I think that when you think about it, that's why I'm saying I think that Cody was gonna always face Roman at WrestleMania 40. Him finish the story would have been better here. I don't think that it was hurt by it at all that they had to wait a year for it to happen, and Cody losing at Mania 39. I don't think that was an issue. I don't have a problem with it then. Don't have a problem with it now.
Oh, that was going to be my next question, but go ahead.
But I think that it would have made sense. Now, the only unfortunate thing, the only unfortunate thing out of this is that The Rock said he's open to doing it this year at this Mania. So if that happens, then because what do you do? Now, don't worry, people, because I already have this in a plan in mind.
Here we go.
So I actually put this on my Facebook a couple of days ago. This was actually on September 16th. I put a card. So I said, honestly, if I am booking Mania next year, my card would be, and then I listed the following matches. I'm not gonna go through all the matches. I'm just gonna say the two of the matches, and then what I'm gonna do with it. So for WrestleMania 40, night 1, I would put The Rock versus Roman, and I would do Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. And then night 2, the winners of those matches will face each other for the undisputed title. That's what I would do. So that will set up Roman being Rock, Cody being Cena, and then you have Roman versus Cody, Cody being Roman, and you have your undisputed champion. I think that is what you can do, and that will not only make Mania that much greater, but it'll just be we'll get everything and everyone wins. I don't know what you think about it, but I think that's pretty damn amazing. Night 1's going to be amazing. Night 2 will be amazing because you got two, in a way, dream matches.
So are you saying have those matches, both of them on night 1, and then like you said,
the winners on night 2?
That's a lot on top. I mean, maybe one of them can start. Maybe Cody and Cena would start.
I mean, that's fine. Oh, by the way, the rest of this card that I built, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
That is a great card. Don't tell me you wouldn't buy that.
Huh?
I would pay to watch this card. Like, I know I get it free. I'll pay them the $60.
So for those listening, he has CM Punk versus LA Knight, Jimmy versus Jay, which I mean pretty much seems like a lock. Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair, Io versus Asuka versus Kairi. I have something to say about that. Gunther versus Seth Rollins, Sasha Banks versus Trish Stratus, and KO versus Sami Zayn.
Now, I will say this. This was before the news of what we'll talk about next week. Well, we mentioned it last week, but we'll talk more about her next week. This was before I got that news about Jade. I have to say that.
So that was going to be my question for you after this, but we'll talk about that next week then.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I
I
think.
don't know how you cannot love it.
Listen, I don't hate it.
Just give me one negative, because you said there was
No,
something.
no, I'm not saying there's a
Kyrie.
negative. What I'm saying, no, I'm talking about the Rock, Roman, Cody, Cena thing. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
we'll save that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll talk about that next time. I think you have to be strategic with it. I think you have to, if you're gonna do it that way, one of those matches has got to be going on first. Like, it has to, because those are two heavy matches, kind of like a la WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan having to win his way into the main event. That's why I said I don't hate it. You got to be strategic in match placement, and like I said, I think if it's done right, it definitely lends itself into making the title and Roman just giving even more prestige. Like, he doesn't already have a lot of prestige behind it, but I don't hate it. I don't. I do think, how do you make it? I just want to make sure that clearly Cody's going to go over Cena here. Roman's going to go over Rock. I just hope they do it in a way where, because I think at that time, like, Cody has to win. Like, that has to be what we're doing here.
Oh yeah,
so
that is.
when
Yeah,
we get to night
we gotta
two,
finish the story. Hard time.
yeah, when we get to night two, we gotta really just go all in on it, because now it's like people are gonna be looking at it like, okay, Cody's winning. You know, how do you make sure that moment feels as good as we want it to feel? Like, how it's going to be as satisfying? But I don't hate it. I think if it's strategic in match placement, if the build is done right, you know, how are we going to have Mania go? You know, how are we going to, you know, factor that in? So to your question, the only negative I see about this is, this is clearly for the SmackDown title, right? Because Roman's the champ over there. The only negative I see, I feel like it's going to eclipse, which, I mean, theoretically it already kind of does, the Raw title.
Oh, you're talking about the World Heavyweight?
Yeah, I think Seth is doing a good job, but I think the fact is that with Roman doing what he's doing with that title, I think the only negative is I feel it's going to overshadow the Raw, you know, the World Heavyweight title over there. But I mean, theoretically, it's already kind of been done. That's the only negative I could see. Like,
yeah, I get that. That's why.
What could you do? Yeah.
If I was them, just to answer in a quick manner, I put it on night 2. I don't put it on night 1. I put it on night 2, because you're not going to overcome Cody Cena. And you're not going to overcome Rock and Roll. We already know that.
But then you put it on night 2, you're also not going to overcome Roman
fine.
And Cody too. Like,
it wasn't going to be the number 1 match on the card anyway. So it doesn't matter. But as long as it's not number 3 or 4, then we're good. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I just, you know, you're trying to build it, but
it's considered the second title anyway, even though it's supposed to be on second. It's going to be, let's just say this. The title won't drop down to Seth Rollins, where it's not going to be equal until Roman loses it. I'll just say that.
I mean,
Once Roman loses it, Cody will make it even, because Cody is going to make it. He's not going to make it where it's the undisputed title. No. I can see him already dropping that belt in the trash and pulling out the old Wing Eagle or something like that. Like, I can see it. Like, that's just what I see. I see him bringing, like, the real official new title out, or the old title out, the next Monday night on Raw. That's personally what I see. And then it will be equal again. That is exactly what I see, and I would bet money that's what happens. It's something like that.
Look, all I know is that if we get to Mania and this happens exactly the way that you say it, that's it. Like, you're gonna have to come off some information because I know something is up.
Well,
Like,
no,
this
this is
can't happen again.
I created this one. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't text nobody.
Nope.
I personally created this.
Note the time, listeners. If this
I booked this.
no,
But
if
I
this
just want to mention. I do want to mention. I know this is not what we were talking about, but this is all related. It's already brought up. I do want to say though, since you're the one that brought this idea to me, by the way. But that CM Punk LA Knight match might be great too, just because of the promos. And it's your fault that I put that in there.
why is it my fault?
Because you're the one that convinced me about CM Punk.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, well, if CM Punk is going to be that guy to come back, then he needs to come back to put someone over. And obviously, LA Knight's not going to be the one to beat Roman. And LA Knight's not on Raw.
Nor
The
should
only
he
way
be.
to really put him over would be to be one of the biggest stars in the history of the business, and that's CM Punk.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I just feel like those promos, like, you thought Miz and him were great. Punk and him, that could be even greater, because you could say Punk is slightly better than Miz. You could say that. But
I could see that.
I just wanted to throw that out there. We'll talk about more about the women's next time on the next episode.
But we can agree that WrestleMania 40, no matter what happens at the end of the night, Cody better finish that damn story. Because
yes, I do agree with that. I do agree with that. Barring any type of injury or anything like that, he needs to be the one holding that title at the end. I completely agree with that. It will hurt,
yes.
but I will definitely accept that.
Because remember, we even said on the post show after 39, like, we were okay with him losing. Like, we were fine with it. When everybody was like, we were cool with it. I'm not gonna feel the same way if this happens at 40. So,
let's be honest. There's only one other way that. Well, no, I'm not gonna even mention it because we'll talk for hours on that. So we'll just say Cody for now. But yes, I think we're on agreement for that. Yes, Cody and the WrestleMania 40, him holding the title, him winning the title, finishing the story for his father. And I think that is exactly what is needed, not only to end WrestleMania, but also for us to end this episode.
Indeed.
So, Sasha, is there anything else you want to talk to the people, tell the people, anything like that before we head out of here?
Just continue to listen, give us a 5-star rating, subscribe, tell your friends about us, tell your friends. The other day at my local radio station, they were talking about, what are you a nerd about? And the DJ likes to read emails on the air, and I sent an email about being a nerd for wrestling, and I might have plugged our show on, Houston radio. So just
wait, we were on Houston radio?
I sent an email saying that I'm a nerd for wrestling, how much I love it, and I wrote the name of our podcast on there. So,
okay,
spread the word, guys. Spread the word about us. We're good people. We're here for you. But yeah, no, I'm especially now looking forward to next week's show because it's women's wrestling, and I think it's time that we have this talk, because as progressive as we've been in women's wrestling, not taking that away, I definitely think there's some things we can work on here. So I'm looking forward to that. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely got a lot to say about that. So I'm hyped for that. Thank you for bringing that up and making that the next episode, because that's going to be great. I do want to say, well, you did pretty much say it as far as, spreading the love and sharing with everybody. I do appreciate that. Remember, we are on Spotify, we are on Apple Podcasts, pretty much everything that I'm aware of. But yeah, like I just want to say, I do not work for the WWE. Okay, anything that has been that has happened, that I have stated, has just been my own creative genius. Um,
I could
I,
send the NDA agreement, like
I just wanted to say that, so if this does happen, I'll let Trips know. I'll be like, yo, thank you for, stealing my idea. But great job for taking it, because I do appreciate it. I want to see it happen. I just wish that, more of my ideas would be come to life, I guess. Life would be so much greater if that came true. But other than that, guys, I just want to say thank you for listening. And this was, this is what, episode 12 now? So episode 12 since we returned under the Ring Champ's name. I think, I've definitely had a lot of fun doing it. Sasha has as well. And we can't wait to bring you more episodes. So can't wait for next week when we talk about the women's evolution, something, whatever it's called. But just women's wrestling in general. Because I definitely have a lot to say about it. It's going to be a hot topic over the next couple of months for sure. Man, I'm sure by next week we'll have even more crazy news about it. So let's just stay tuned. Can't wait to see Monday Night Raw and SmackDown this week. And Wrestle Dream, October 1st, AEW. Check that out. Got a great card as well. I think it's led by not Will Ospreay. Fuck, what's his name? Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. Dream technical wrestling match. So go ahead and check that out. October 1st, Wrestle Dream.
Like a PLE for them? It's like, I just felt they just had one of these.
Yeah, I know. It's coming. I know. Oh, and WWE No Mercy, NXT No Mercy, whatever you want to call it. Also Becky Lynch defending against Tiffany Stratton, Extreme Rules match.
Boy,
so we got a lot of wrestling coming up. So can't wait for all that. can't wait. But all right, guys. It's time to head out of here. Thank you so much for listening. This was episode 12. Ring Champs. We out of here. Peace.
Adios.